Hello, good afternoon. Luis Alberto, Silvia, how are you doing? Long time since I haven't seen you. How are you doing?
Hey, how are
Doing
you?
fine, thank you.
Everything okay? Thank you.
Okay, and welcome to. Yeah, we already have people connected. We are going to wait a little bit, like 1 or 2 minutes, so that we have or give this space room to people join the event. Okay.
Mhm.
If you don't mind, we will wait a couple of minutes only, and then we will just start. Okay, Luis,
Okay,
Silvia,
perfect.
Good.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so in honor to the time, it's 3:32 here in Santiago, 2:32 there in Canada at the time. So we are going to start. Thank you very much for joining us. We are in one of the Ausenco Connect webinars. We have been doing like a couple of webinars, like I think like 8 or something. I was hosting one of them, the asset optimization one. So today we are going to be speaking about the importance of data and information management to improve the asset integrity and reliability. Thank you very much for joining us. We are going to have so much information today, and really willing to start. We are going to watch definitely a masterclass in this kind of topic. So let's continue. Let's start. Thank you very much. Please next. Okay, so in order to do that, we have brought here a relevant and very experienced people. We've got Silvia Bermudez, who is the Transportation and Logistics Manager for South America and Latin America. We do have Luis Lopez, who is the Pipeline and Asset Integrity Manager for South America, and myself, Jose Cortinat, who I am the Business Development Manager for Asset Optimization. Silvia, please tell us a little bit more about your background so that people can know who you are.
Okay, thank you, Jose, and hello, everybody. So I'm a civil engineer. In fact, I'm an expert port engineer. I have more than 16 years of experience working on the maritime and port industry around the world, living in different countries, 8 different countries now, and working in projects from the conceptual design till the construction, managing construction projects, and also related with operations in ports in different parts of the world. And I'm here as representing the transportation logistic industry that we will talk a little bit about it later, but you will see that an industry that has different faces and that is really interesting to know a little bit more about it.
Thank you, Silvia. Thank you very much. Luis Alberto, please just introduce yourself. You have more than 30 years of experience in different varieties of industries. Please just go ahead and tell about your story.
Thank you, Jose. Hello, everybody. Yes, well, I have something like 30 years of experience into the, my first 10 years was on aeronautical industry, working in the engineering, planning, maintenance, and support, technical support. From there, I have, all the experience with a reliability and with a very exigent industry. After that, I moved to the oil and gas industry, and I had the opportunity to work around Latin America, Venezuela, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Mexico, many different countries. And since the last 8 years, I moved to Chile to lead a big project into the mining industry. And well, I'm here working in the integrity area, giving support to our clients into this asset management and integrity management for the mining industry here in South America.
Thank you, Luis Alberto. Okay, guys, let me introduce myself as well. I'm Jose Cortinat. I'm coming from the wind energy industry, but the last 7 years I have been working for the mining industry. Well, when I started my career, I actually travel around the world doing operation and maintenance of wind turbines, wind farms. Nowadays, I'm helping my clients in the different and variety operations around the world as well in the asset management and asset optimization field, reliability, maintenance plan, maintenance strategy, and so on. So, well, guys, I just wanted to introduce this team so that we can see that the variety of knowledge and areas that we've got in Ausenco, because some of our clients just know a certain part of Ausenco, like maybe the project delivery one and the engineering part, but they are missing the consultant part as well. So here we have Silvia Bermudez from the TNL and the ports industry, and Luis Alberto, who is in charge of the pipeline and the asset integrity, myself representing the asset optimization and asset management field of it. So let's jump on the topic now that we have done the presentations. Please, next slide. Okay, so data management, information management. So just in order to start, I want to launch a question to the audience, and hopefully the audience can also reply. How do you manage your own data, your own information, even your personal? Okay, do you have different checklists? Do you have different repositories of your actual information? Does it have a digital platform where you load the information? Are you collaboratively working with your teams in your work? Do you use the email like too much, or do you I think that people abuse about the email? It's like the only tool and kind of the official channel to actually share information, and eventually becoming or having so many uncontrolled versions of the same information. Nowadays, COVID-19 came and said, okay, we need to get into the digital transformation. And we are really, all of us, moving into that. The change management is being like a really heavily, and we are being obligated to jump into this. We know big data, data mining, Internet of Things. Everybody's speaking about data analytics and so on, but the question here as well is like, is the people, not the industry, is the people ready for that? So I want to ask you, Luis Alberto, what do you think about this topic?
Thank you, Jose. Yes, when we're talking about the data management or information management, we are talking about knowledge. We are talking about the people. We are talking about systems. We are not talking about technology. The technology is there, and the technology is the way we can use that information to take decisions. But we are talking about the system and the knowledge we have in order to take the right decisions. So the data management is a critical component of asset integrity management, because we have a lot of information, a lot of data from the asset cycle life, and we have to use that. So that is really important to understand that it is not only the technology, it is the system and the management of that.
Yeah, there is like the people involved in the data management. It's key. It's not just the technology, processes, procedures, methodologies, but very important people and change management, isn't it? Next slide, please.
So how to improve asset management, using the access we have to the data and the information management. When we review the industry, we know that the intensive use industry have several types of assets. We have a different kind of life cycles. We can have a pump that have a couple years of life cycle, or we can have a pipeline with 20 years, or a structure with a 30 years of life. So we have to manage and analyze all the information we have across the business, across the different kind of assets we have. The approach we have in Ausenco, it is a holistic approach of pit to port. So we think that we have to manage, the different assets we have from the pit to the port in order to assure the continuity of the operation. So our approach, it is to develop asset integrity management system. As I mentioned before, it is not only the technology, it is the management system that we have to implement in order to have results. And that the data management is essential to an effective asset integrity management. We have to use that because without data, we can't manage, the integrity of our assets. Next slide, please. Next, please. Okay, and why we have this approach? When you review, the process of any kind of industry, you can see that we have different kind of asset, but with very similar type of data. That information and that data came from the asset because we have a very similar activities that we have to comply with in order to obtain information about the status, the health, and the condition of our asset. So the asset management means several activities that we have to comply with, but with similar conditions across the different assets into the operation. On the right side of your screen, you can see that, different kind of asset that we have across the business. And when you review the activities that we have to comply in order to understand what is happening with the asset, it is very similar. So we have that similar type of data that we have to manage and that we have to analyze in order to take decisions.
Luis, I'm really glad that you are saying that, you that have been involved in different industries, the same as Silvia, the same as myself, even, it happens. It applies to all sort of industries, regardless the asset type or any or the if it is an electrical piece of equipment or it's an structure or something. You always have one approach, one holistic approach, Okay, thank you very much. We can continue, please. Next slide.
Thank you, Jose. Well, we have an operational excellence vision in Ausenco, and that is complete aligned to our pit-to-port approach. Here you can see, we have many different activities that we have to comply with in order to assure, the excellence of your operation. So you have to comply with integrity management, risk management, corrosion management. You have to assure that the in-service management of the operations, and that you have to assure that you will comply with your budget and your objectives. As I mentioned, we are talking about systems. So that reason says that we have to comply with the PDCA of Deming. And one part of this is we have to perform the assessment, and we have to audit how we are working in that. So we have to evaluate what is the performance of our system, and how are we doing, the job. We have to train our personnel. We have to train, from the operation personnel to the different part of the operation. We have to perform fitness for service when we have problems. We have to apply advanced engineering in that. We have to comply with the brownfield engineering in order to update or upgrade our assets. And in the case we have a problem, we have to have the emergency response management in order to have the capacity to return to service with a minimum impact to the business, to the people, and to the environment. Next, please. So data is a challenge. We have challenges, with the data. We have to manage that, and we have to understand that. So the origin and the sources of the data is very diverse. Primarily comes from the process, it's continuous, or can come from the engineering and maintenance activities that is discrete. But the data came from a different format. It is not always compatible. It is not systemized and integrated. It is not centralized, and is diverse across disciplines and areas. That's a problem. We have to understand that we have data from everywhere, across the business. So our biggest challenge into the industry is to assure that the data, it is reliable, okay, and we can gather it, protect, the data is accessible, and we can recover, the data during the complete life cycle of the asset. So the question is how we can do that. So next, please. Well, another thing that is important is that, the lack of data or the management of data is part of is a variable that applies to the business risk. In this drawing, you can see, the maximum tolerable risk or the alarm risk you can accept into a process. And you have the asset life cycle there, starting from the design, construction, commissioning, operation, and maintenance. And the integrity of any asset start during the design is confirmed during the construction, and that it is assured during the operation. Okay, so when you have the life cycle of the asset, you will have a lot of events during the life cycle history. You will have incidents, repairs, brownfield project modifications, alterations to the asset, and in the measure that you have more data, if you manage the information and the data that you have, you will reduce the risk of your asset. But if you have lack of data, you will have more risk. That is really important to understand, and we have to take into account when we project, the base of integrity management system we develop into the our company. Next, please. So we have a life cycle here for the data and information. This is not new, but it is our idea with this is to systemize how we can manage the data and information. We have to gather in and recover in the data. we have to centralize, we have to classify, we have to integrate, we have to processing that in order to analyze the data, okay? And the only way we have to add value, it is if we understand this cycle in order to take the right decisions with the data and the information that we have. The focus needs to be on managing the data to obtain information that add value to the process, not in the gathering and the recovering of the data. When you analyze, when we perform an audit across the business, normally we found that it is very complicated to obtain the information of the process, to to obtain what is happening with the process. It is really complicated for the engineers there at the operation to give us the information they use normally, to manage the asset. So it is really important here to understand that we have to focalize, okay, our effort in the analyzing, the data, and not in the gathering and recovering of that. Next, please. But a good question is that it is enough, to have that cycle? No, it is not. Definitely, we have to give another step. And this is the data and information lifecycle, but using the industry 4.0. Now we have to make a new integration. We have to move in another way in order to understand and to apply the technology to manage the data. Okay, so the machine learning, well, the big data, the data mining, and all the business transformation that apply to the data and information it has to be used in order to develop predictive models to help, our engineers at the field to manage the risk of the asset. Next, please. So in Ausenco, we are working in that using big data and data mining, processing that and analyzing the data, and giving reporting to our client. At the bottom of your slide, you can see a real case that we have with a big mine here in Chile, where we have the complete trace of a pipeline, a slurry pipeline, with all the KPIs and all the variables that we have to control to the system, in order to apply, or to understand what is happening with the asset, and what we have to do in order to assure, the continuity of the operation. So, as you remember, we have the cycle. We have the second part that is the machine learning and the predictive models, and that we have to report, and we have to show that to the different parts. Next, please. But as I mentioned before, it's not only technology. We are not talking about technology. The technology is just one part of this. The technology give us the facilities, to the options to use more information, more data to process in better way. But we are talking about the management system, because the asset change during the life cycle. The asset receive many different changes because incidents, because maintenance, because obsolescence or technological changes, and that we have to comply with that changes, and we have to understand what happened with the data, with the asset and the data of the asset. So the amount of asset data and information from the challenge for the changes that we have is 100%, is very, very high, is exponentiality, and it's very complicated to manage during the time. Okay, so the management of change, it is a systematic process that involves people, involve technology, and that involve the knowledge. So it's part of the culture of the organization. If you review, the process, you have the data at the bottom, you have the information later of that. If you have a learning curve, and then you have the knowledge at the upside of the curve. So data management absolutely is a culture change, and that is a process that we have to implement into the organization. Next, please. So in Ausenco, we have the Ausenco way, that this the way we are taking, to apply solutions, to develop solutions to our clients, and that we are working now with a business intelligence, and that we are trying to change, the data and information we have from the process, and we are trying, and that we are giving, a better way to understand the data using this cycle. Basically, we move from the visibility and operational understanding, and we take information from the process, and we change that into information that is that add value to the process. Okay. We customize the different kind of information we give to the client. We develop control panels and information in order to give to each level of the organization the information that they need, and we save time to to our engineers and our people, in order that they have the information they need in a simple screen in this case. Okay. On the right side, you can see here another case of that we have with our client. In this case, it's a water recirculation system and a tailing system, and there you have all the information they need in order to manage, the system, and you can predict what will happen if you perform any kind of a procedure into the system. Next, please. As part of the Ausenco way too, we have the development of data management solutions. So in this drawing, you can see in the right side of the screen, you can see the system that you normally have into any kind of process, and in the right side you have the intelligence that we apply in order to develop databases in according with the cycle of data and information we mentioned before. We develop reportability, ad hoc reportability, according to the requirement of our client and the necessities that they have. We apply machine learning and another predictive models in order to give all the information they need, and to predict any kind of fail you could have with your asset. Next, please. Another service we have, another product we have, it is the Pipeline Advisor. This is a leak detection system that we apply. We have basically the Pipeline Advisor and the Pipeline Simulator. Basically, with this is you can perform real-time monitoring. You have alert and notification, and that you can customize according to the requirement of the operation. You can make the batch tracking, and that you can make the corrosion sensor monitoring and the erosion sensor monitoring, the DCP monitoring, in order to understand what is happening, with the external corrosion of your system, and that you can simulate the different options, the different conditions that you could have in your pipeline. You can make a statistical analysis of how you are operating your system. You can perform the pipeline ruggedness analysis in order to determine when you have a problem and what you have to do in order to avoid that kind of problems. you can validate your hydraulic models of the pipeline, and that you can update that information in order to assure that you have a continuous operation. You can simulate leaks in order to train your people and to train your personnel, and that you can make a different kind of simulations and different kind of steady conditions or transient conditions or valves operations in order to train your people or to simulate condition, very limit conditions to your pipelines. So our approach in this case is to give a intelligent integrity solution to the client using technology of leak detection and data managing. Next, please. So what else? We work in management and risk management too. As part of the process of any operation. We have to comply with, we have to understand what are the risks we have and what kind of risk we have when we operate our systems. So we develop a risk-based model to manage pipeline integrity, very ad hoc, very customized to the requirement of our client. We can develop a pipeline risk map and drawings to help operators to manage risk. And on the right side, on the bottom of your screen, you can see a real case of a mine here in Chile, where you have a slurry pipeline, and there you have the complete trace of the pipeline with a different risk meter by meter, and what condition have the pipeline on all the trace, So it's really important that, because with this, with this platform, we can manage the risk and that we can manage the integrity of the asset. Next, please.
Okay, Luis, thank you very much for your masterclass. Okay, it is just a whole masterclass. Now I want to give Silvia the opportunity to tell us a little bit about the transportation and logistics from your point of view and the ports industry. Tell us, how is the state of the art in this topic, please?
So thank you. Yeah, we listening to Luis Alberto. What I can say is that we facing the port industry and the logistics industry, we have two faces of the same coin. So two complete different realities. The approach on the port industry, the port and maritime industry, but focusing on a port, like the infrastructure that is built on a port, and how to manage these assets that you have there and the data that you collect from them. We are on not on the 4.0 era, but we are more on the 1.0 or 2.0 era. So we are just really behind on this type of development. Why? Probably ports have been there forever. We are really used to use them, to look at them, to even walk through them, but nobody is just thinking about their own facilities, infrastructure, in the way that there are assets that you need to maintain during the time. They have been there, and why you need to take care about them if they have been there forever. So it's really common to find this culture on the port industry. Of course, it's changing little by little. They are introducing innovations, and of course, they are worried about asset management, but in a more immature way at this point of the time. The approach is they collect data. They have data in data sheets, in spreadsheets, in paper, in sometimes on the phone, on the tablet. Everything is spread around. Everybody collects data in a different way. They don't talk. They are different sources, different languages. So putting all these things together in a system that can manage and translate the data and then storage the data and then transform the data into information that you can analyze is a process that is taking place probably now in the industry in some ways, but not in the way that Luis Alberto explained it. On the other hand, we have the logistics, as seeing logistics as the complete logistic chain for any product that you can imagine. So any producer that has, for example, a mine, in our case, that is a typical example in Ausenco. So it's a mining guy that has that is been producing mining products on a mine, and he's worried about how to move these products from the mine to the port, usually because this is the export point on the logistic chain, and then to the final client. This whole chain is really well known. There's data all around. You collate it in the right way, you storage it in the right way, you transform and analyze it as information in the right way, and you get, in fact, through some systems, you get the right information to make your own business decisions. And an example of that is this image that is there on the right, that is just a screen print of our simulation tool that we have developed around more than 30 years ago in-house. It's a really powerful tool that nowadays it's able to predict what will be the situation or different scenarios for your logistic chain. It can simulate different conditions with different boundaries, with different, let's say, topics that you want to include or exclude or introduce as a temporary condition, as a permanent condition. So you can play with it. It's a simulator tool that is training itself, so it's machine learning based, and it helps you to understand not only how it's working your logistic chain, but if you can optimize it, if you can introduce some changes or modifications on it that are able to work in the future or are able to improve your logistic change, or if you have any, I don't know, change on your boundary conditions, like, I don't know, weather conditions, for example, on a port that is, it was open 24/7 in the past, but now has some restraints and only can operate 2 days a week, for example. You can simulate that if that will be enough for you to move your products in the same way that you have been done before. So these kind of tools on the logistic part of the wall is really well developed and well known and really well used nowadays. But on the port industry, we are talking about a different way, and they are quite behind. So it's probably surprising. But if you think about ports and the way they work and probably the history behind them, maybe is that why they are still attached to old times, and they go they progress a little bit slower than other parts of the logistic chain.
Thank you.
Jose, you are mute.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Silvia, for the information. What about that YouTube link? Do we have a link in Ausenco YouTube channel?
You're right. I forgot about it. Yeah. We have a YouTube channel. You will have the link, so you will be able to access our YouTube channel. You can see the TLS is the name of the simulator that we have developed, and some real examples there, how we use it and for what the different type of industries. This example that you can see here is an oil and gas industry example, but we work for different kind of industry. You will be able to see some good examples there and how it was developing, how it works, in fact, a little bit of everything.
Well, that's great. We are going to ask the marketing team to send that link to the audience after that, after the finalizing the webinar. Actually, this webinar is being recorded, so we are going to share it with everybody. Next slide, please. Okay, Luis, we have some conclusions, okay? And as you have been kind of like leading this session, please just go ahead with the conclusions, please.
Thank you, Jose. Well, the first one is that, we are talking about, the asset-intensive industries. That's really important that we have different time of asset with similar time of data. That could look like it's very basic, but that is really important because we have a different life cycles. We have a different kind of asset, different type of risk, different kind of consequences if you have a fail. But you have to comply with similar processes in order to understand what happened with your asset. No? The data and information management are critical to manage the asset life cycle. Without data, without managing that data, in order to obtain high value information about the asset, it is impossible to manage, the life cycle of your asset. So you have to understand that, and you have to put in place into your own organization. As data management increase, asset risk decreases. Basically, you need to have a process management system, a data management system in order to reduce the risk of your asset. That is very, very important. The business intelligence improved the data cycle management and the production of usable high-value information to manage asset integrity. That's the way we are using, and we understand that in the way we give information to our client, to the different levels of our client, they can take decision making in better way. Our approach, that is a pit to port, help to the organization to improve data management and reporting. That we are convinced that we have to maintain this holistic approach and give all the information to our clients in order to give the right way to manage the data of the process. And the final point that I would like to be very, very, very specific, it is that it is not only about technology. No. We are talking about processes. We are talking about chain management. We are talking about systems. We are talking about management system. We are talking about people, technology, processes, and it is not only technology. I think it is really important to put that into our way of give the answer to our client. Next, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Luis. I just asked Luis to have the space to present actually the comprehensive or the holistic services that we provide in Ausenco. Because as I said in the beginning, Ausenco is just not an engineering firm, has all the consultancy part of it, and we have an holistic pit to port package of services where we have processing plants operations, we have tailings, water management, the part of Silvia, logistics and ports, all that pipeline as well with Luis Alberto and his understanding of the asset integrity and how we can monitor the operation of the assets. My part of the world in Ausenco, which is the asset management and asset optimization field of it, and we have the environment and social and community engagement part of it as well. Never forgetting the energy and the infrastructure. Okay, so what I want to eventually kind of transmit in maybe in a bad way, but we are in the whole part of the industry. We can support our clients holistically with one approach. Okay, from pit to port. Only that, just a very short one. Next slide, please. And final. Like a reflection, please, Luis, if you can just go with it.
Well, it's very quickly, you know, that the world is changing, and the COVID-19 obligate us, you know, to change very quickly and without preparation. So the digital transformation of the business is now. It is not for tomorrow. It's now. And in Ausenco, we want to strive to lead this process and develop new high-value services and solutions, you know, for our clients. But we want to do that use it, you know, data information management. So our question is what we prefer, you know, disrupt or be disrupted. I think it's very clear, you know, the message there.
Thank you very much, Luis. Next slide, please. And now we are over. We're finished. Let's open the table for some Q&As. Actually, we have already some over here. Wilson Pace. Wilson Pace, can you explain the human factor into the data information cycle? The human factor. Okay, I think this goes for you, Luis.
Yes, well, you know, the technology give us, you know, the tools to manage the data and to transform that into information. But the human factor is critical because you need to include culture, you need to include knowledge, you need to include system and managing, and that is not part of the machine learning or of the technology. It's part of the people. You know? So definitely you need that your people understand that and they apply that in order to have a success when you implement this kind of technology.
Okay. Rebecca Samber, what can we do to start and implement a data and information management system in the mining industry? Who wants to take that?
Tell me again, please.
Yeah, what can we do to start and implement a data and information management system in the mining industry?
Well, the first thing is to understand that you have a cycle, and that you understand the cycle. You have to understand what are the sources and what is the origin of the data you have. You have to implement a process that give you the option to gathering the data, centralize that, integrate and analyze, in order to have after that the option to take decisions about the data. So the important thing is to have, you know, the people, to have the process, and that you have the knowledge about that into the mining industry, and using that as a process, as a management system.
Okay, next one. Let me see. Michael Silva. What is your recommendation on how to assure that brownfield modifications are properly registered? Well, this is a regular pain, isn't it? Like you see in the industry that you have like these small projects going on that change completely your plant and looks completely different, but never those small projects are like kind of like recorded in a certain way. So a good, very good question. Okay, do you want to go for that, Luis?
Yes, well, that is part of the concept of management of change that we have to apply, no? Uh, as I mentioned before, management of change is a process that we have to implement, and we have to have learning learning cases. We have to understand what happened with our asset, and that we have to manage all the information of the change in order to assure that all the information is in place, and that you can use that to perform the changes of the asset, and that you can operate in the right way. So it's really important to have that information as a part of the process.
Okay, thank you very much. We have some more questions. I'm going to take just one more. David Corp is asking this. I think it goes for you, Silvia. What to do to change the port industry mindset of the people? Good one.
Well, if I have the answer for that, what you have to do, probably push them harder, probably place them in a situation where they cannot go anywhere. So meaning if they feel the pressure from outside the port, both sides of the port, the land side and the maritime side of the port. So arriving to the client or coming from a client and arriving to the client on land, or coming from a client on land. If these other parts of the logistic change, they already manage the data in a way, they are doing their asset optimization process, they have in place their own strategy, they are working really hard to keep it there and to keep it alive. And so probably one day or another, what will happen is they will start pushing you as the unique part of the chain that is not sharing data with them, that is like really behaving as a black box where you don't have access and you just put your products in and you don't know what happened with them till they go out again and you are able to track them again. So I think peer pressure could be one of the things that can change the game for the port industry. But you need to take into account that ports are a really specialized type of work, really specialized type of industry. So port operators that are usually typically the owners of the infrastructure, or at least the ones that operate the infrastructure that is there, that sometimes it's public owned. They want to keep their way of doing things by themselves. I mean, it's really confidential, let's say, and it's a game changer, and it's also a differentiator that allows them to be better or worse than the competitors, but different. So it's their own way, probably what they want to keep secret, and is these that probably are enforcing them to not share much data, although they are collating it, and they are starting the process of this data management that Luis Alberto showed us. But it's a tricky and difficult industry because it's really close one, really specialized one. So you need to be really careful on the way you enter there and you push them, because they can continue refusing to do so, of course, and they can just choose really well the data that they want to share and the way they want to share it.
really interesting, Celia, what you are speaking, and I think it doesn't just apply to the port industry. This issue of sharing or like a kind of avoiding to share the information because it means maybe you are losing certain power or certain position, or you could be substituted by maybe somebody else, if you kind of share the whole information. This actually opens the discussion for a new webinar. So I'm gonna speak, I'm gonna speak internally in Ausenco how to set up, maybe how to set up like a system where you are going to avoid those kind of games and wars of who owns and keeps the information. Thank you very much, Silvia. Thank you very much, Luis, for all your knowledge, all your all the information that you have been sharing with us. We are going to close in here and finalize this webinar. Thank you very much for everybody that has been there, like listening. Just I remind you that we have recorded this session and we will be sending it to all of you. Okay, thank you very much. I want to close and give an end to this. Silvia, Luis, if you want to say goodbye to the attendees.
Thank you so much, everyone. And if any one of you want more insights, more information, you just have there our emails and LinkedIn links, so you can go through our profiles there, or just email us directly and reach to us to any question that you may have.
Thank you very much and goodbye. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.